doesn't have positive results, no matter what. You may have individuals going into it with some objectives, but at the end of the day, the outcome is always bad for people. This particular issue is so worrying, particularly in the sense that people have to depend on some things that we will least expect in individuals or human beings to eat. And I am not surprised, as somebody who is a livelihood expert, I'm not surprised, because there is always nothing next to food. I mean, lack of food. In other words, if you don't find food, you will definitely find its alternative, no matter what it is, because you are next to that, to death, and so you must survive. And so I'm not surprised that people are eating chaff, they are eating grass and all that. There must be something for them to survive, whether it will kill them or not. They have to eat. And so it's so sad that our fellow human beings are found in this particular situation. We pray that the Almighty Allah will come in and support them, so that they'll be out of these difficulties as soon as possible. I'm also worried about the extent of which the violence is escalating, to the extent that people who are supposed to provide relief items are being killed. When these people are targeted, then you ask yourself, who will then be able to go in and provide support? Even when you have the support, it becomes difficult for you to be able to reach out to the people who are going through these difficulties. It's so sad. And you know, the most disturbing aspect is the fact that you also realize that those who are cooking this violence, they and their families are in safe places. They don't lose their families. They eat and sleep well. Unfortunately, innocent individuals are being pushed in to do those things. And so it's very, very bad to the extent that you now have the government military fighting with the paramilitary. And so conflicts of those nature are very difficult to control, because if you look at the level of power being exhibited by this paramilitary, then you get so worried, because you see that it means that they have become very powerful. Let me link it to, you know, these violence, when you trace them, mostly you end up realizing that some of these supposed big countries or the superpowers, you find them being involved in that. There's something we saw in Tamale, and myself and some other colleagues, MPs, we expressed worry about this. For the past 1 week, we have been having international military jets landing in Tamale. And what we heard, when we found out, what we heard is that they bring ammunitions. They come to, they bring ammunitions, or, I mean, the allegations that we picked up is that they come to leave some kind of military equipment and all that. So this is something that we discussed ourselves, and we felt that this thing we must try to investigate and find out how, because at the other time it was a Canadian flight, the other time it was US flight, and when I saw it, a very gent flight, and they were offloading items. When I tried to investigate, then I was told that the preliminary reports show that they are bringing some military ammunition. So this is how some of these things start. And if you don't show some concern, before you realize, you are caught unawares. So we will urge that there must be some proper communication. If we have external military people landing our airports, and to the extent that they are dropping ammunitions, then it means that the people deserve the right to know. They must come out and tell us why those planes are in Ghana and landing in Tamale in particular, and what are they doing, so that everybody will be on the same page. But the way it is being done covertly, I think it is not acceptable. So we can only pray at the moment. We can only pray that our people in Darfur will be soon out of this violence. I will still appeal to World Food Program and its allies to come to the aid of the people, because they must survive. They need food aid. We are also appealing to African Union to also go into the matter and then take actions. And we are also appealing to the people of Darfur that they should come down and then let peace prevail, particularly the paramilitary, because these are civilians who have been trained or who have turned themselves into military fighting, that you don't have alternative for life. So we are praying that, and then urging them that they should allow peace to prevail, so that we can enjoy peace as a country. Africa is bedeviled with a lot of challenges, and food hunger is one of the issues that we are likely to face, and we are battling with, even in countries where there are no violence. For example, in Ghana, if you look at reports, if you paint the true picture in Ghana, we are also in food crisis. Because in my constituency, for example, where it's a rural, the people are, most of them are peasant farmers, and so by January, February, they are done with what they have harvested from the farms. And now that we are sitting here, people are struggling to get maize, the basic staple food. People are struggling to get that. So households are in serious poverty. Now, a bag of maize is about 400 to 500 Ghana cedis if you want to buy it. Then you ask yourself, how many households can afford to buy that? It's so difficult. So people really go to sleep without food, even in Ghana. It is happening right now. Last year, there were a lot of crises. Rice farmers, people farmed 100 acres, and their farms were consumed by bears. I filed an urgent question, demand the Minister for Agriculture to come and tell us what immediate intervention they were putting in place. Till now, it's getting to about a year now. No response has come from the minister. And so these things we ask it because our people have put us there. We are their representatives. They cannot access policy. They cannot access the government machinery. We are their representatives. So when they have issues, then you file an urgent question and demand a government response. And it takes over 1 year, urgent question. So what then happens to just an ordinary question? So we are in food crisis. How farmers are going to buy fertilizer this year is unknown to them. Now, government is saying that they want to do, or they are embarking on planting for food and job phase 2, where they are registering farmers, and that they intend to provide the farmers with input credit. I mean, I have written some articles on that. We feel that is going to be difficult for farmers because we have experienced similar models, and there were a lot of challenges. Now, I have checked with agriculture, the district agriculture directory. Those who are collecting the data are so worried because the system is so difficult, but people also have control over that. They are able to manipulate the system from somewhere, and their fear is that at the end of the day they are likely to give selective support. And we, those who are politicians and going into election year, we feel that it may be an avenue to do politics, try to give it to food soldiers, just like we experienced with the planting for food and job 1. So issues about food, it doesn't know party. It is supposed to be a collective effort, but everything we want to politicize. So the food crisis, even though the issue in Darfur, is leading to a very deteriorating situation. But other countries who are not even affected by war, including Ghana, we are also in food crisis, and we must all come out to support, irrespective of which political party is involved. We all have to come together and try and fight hunger, because even as part of the UN development goals, we are saying that we'll end hunger by 2030. We're in 2024 already. So 6 years down the line, we would have hit the 2030, and yet we are far away, because look at the point where people can still go and sleep without food, and those in war are even the worst culprit. So we are all praying that we will all come together and then work to fight hunger, especially our people in Darfur who urgently need our support. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Hamza Adam. Now let me come to Council Happy Adam. Council.
Yeah, bless morning. Let me wish my Honorable Professor here a good morning. Hopefully we can have a very nice discussion, and wish your lovely viewers a good morning. Once again, it's very unfortunate and very sad that we have to come here to discuss issue concerning Sudan, and specifically Darfur. I recall that sometime last year we had a number of discussions on the civil unrest there, and it's sad that what began as some form of misunderstanding has degenerated into a situation where over 8 million people, he said, have been displaced, 4.6 million children, and a projection that if aid is not sent to Darfur, to Sudan, people may start feeding on grass and peanuts as human beings. Yes, it's very easy to discuss the war issues and then as they make condemnations to the people directly involved in this situation that's plunged our fellow human beings into a situation where they have to become herbivores and start eating grass. It's very unfortunate. But for me, you see, when you take it in the context of why we formed UN, or why the world felt that there was a need to start forming international organizations, especially after the Second World War, the purpose to foster peace and to create a situation where human beings, as in citizens, can have the best chance of fulfilling their ambitions. Indeed, OAU was formed in 1963, and one of the objects of the OAU when it was formed was to promote the unity and solidarity of African states, coordinate and intensify their cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the peoples of Africa. Certainly, one of the issues that fights against this objective, an objective of ensuring that there is a better life for the peoples of Africa, is war. And for me, I think there have been a lot of instances where the world failed, or Africa failed, at achieving this objective, and one would have thought that would learn a lesson from our past mistakes. I always say that Rwanda is one of the biggest blots on UN, on AU, on all these international organizations, when in their most darkest period, the world left them to their fate, resulting in the sad genocide that happened there. I thought that we would have learned from the Rwanda story and ensure that it never happened again. But it seems that in Sudan's darkest hour, we have left them once again. I understand that you said some Red Cross persons lost their lives when they were trying to assess the situation there. but they'll lose their lives because they have very little security. You understand? I think it is critical that these international bodies, especially AU, because we are the most proximate to Sudan and also the UN, not sit down aloof and allow what happened in Rwanda to happen to our brothers in Sudan. Yeah. Especially when we have made a projection that if things are not done properly, if some intervention, a major intervention is not done, then we'll have a situation where our fellow human beings would become like goats and start feeding on grass. You understand? I think it's important, especially for their own integrity, the integrity of these international organizations, to quickly mobilize themselves and begin a massive intervention. A massive intervention to, one, restore peace in Sudan, two, to bring sustainable aid to the people of Sudan, and to ensure that we do all in our power to fulfill and realize the objectives of these international organizations. Because history, they say, is the best teacher. And I understand why, after the horrors of the First and Second World War, within a generation, the amount of lives that were lost directly because of the war, and there's so many other people that lives that were lost as a result of starvation and being displaced, felt that there was a need for the world to come together to form an organization who can more or less prevent loss of lives, prevent people from going to poverty as a result of warfare, be it civil or international. So for me, I think I'll use your platform to call on the AU that they have just become a talk show. You understand? And that this is a classical case of they realizing one of their objects, and also to show to the world that we've learned from the mistakes of the we made concerning Rwanda's issue, and that if we sit down aloof and watch on, countless lives will be curtailed. People will be plunged into abject poverty, and like it's being projected, human beings may have to be to become goats just to survive. Let us make true the objectives of the AU and go to the aid of Sudan.
Right. Thank you very much, Councillor Appiah Danquah. You too can be a part of the conversation. Let me know what your thoughts are. Send in your messages. The text line will be displayed on the screen, or has been displayed on the screen. Make sure you leave a message. We move away from conversations in relation to Sudan. We come back to Ghana, where we have a number of issues of our own. Let's look at the Electoral Commission. They released a press statement, which I'd want producers to display on the screen. They issued a press statement early today. This morning, they were talking, or they were responding to Imani Ghana's assertion that the Electoral Commission deliberately disenfranchised the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe. We will try our best possible to also situate this conversation in the ongoing limited voters registration exercise, which has seen a number of issues, characterize it. But I'm going to read the press statement issued by the Electoral Commission, and they made some arguments. If we can display the press statement, I'll be very glad. Inability of Sao Guan constituency to vote in the 2020 parliamentary election, disregard falsehood and misinformation from Imani president. So this press statement, I've read it, or I've already read it, and it's a combination of what is happening in parliament and law in general. So that's why I'm very happy that I have a parliamentarian here to start with, and a lawyer as well. We are going to have a fruitful conversation. Right. It says the Electoral Commission has received an audio circulating on social media in which the president of Imani accuses the commission of disenfranchising the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Lekpe, we wish to state categorically that his accusations are false and without basis. The commission never disenfranchised the good people of the newly created Gwan constituency. It is not in our interest to do so. Here are the facts surrounding the inability of the residents of Sal, now the Gwan constituency, to vote in the 2020 parliamentary election. 1. The legislative instrument LI 2416, which created the Gwan district, was laid in Parliament on the 6th of October 2020 by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. It matured on the 9th of November 2020, roughly a month to the 2020 general elections. Parliament went on recess on the 9th of November 2020, the same day the LI creating the Gwan district matured, and returned on the 14th of December 2020, 1 week after the 2020 general election. On the 10th of November 2020, the Electoral Commission received a letter from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development informing it of the creation of the Gwan district. The letter requested the Commission to take steps to create a new constituency. 4. The Commission drafted a new constitutional instrument, CI, to bring into force the Gwan constituency and forwarded the draft CI to the Attorney General's Department for its review on 13th of November 2020 as required by law. It is important to state that for a CI to mature and come into force, the law requires the Electoral Commission to lay the CI in Parliament for 21 sitting days. This means that Parliament should be in session during the 21-day period when the CI is laid. With Parliament on recess, the Commission could not lay the CI to bring the Gwan constituency into effect as required by law. 7. The question is, how could the Commission proceed to create a new constituency when Parliament was on recess and when the law required the Commission to lay the CI before Parliament for 21 sitting days? How can any well-meaning person accuse the Commission of disenfranchising the good people of Sal when the facts are so clear? It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that Imani continues to peddle falsehood and untruths about the Commission at every point and turn. Their narrative, he said his narrative, so I think they were referring specifically to the president of Imani. He said his narrative that the Commission disenfranchised the people of Sal, now the Gwan constituency, is false. We urge the public to verify information put out by Imani with the Commission for the Truth and Facts. Right, so signed Michael Buedu, AG Head Public Affairs. So this is a press statement from, or the press statement from the Electoral Commission. It was put out just this morning on their social media portals. Right, I have a few questions that I'd want to ask. It's been nearly 4 years since the 2020 general elections. So if, and I don't know if Parliament is also complicit in this. So if Parliament and then of course the Electoral Commission had any interest at all of undoing the wrong they did in 2020 by not giving the people of Sal, Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Lupe the right to vote and to select a member of Parliament to represent them in the 8th Parliament of Ghana. If they had any genuine intentions of doing so, they've had a latitude of time. It's been how many years since the December 7 election? So if they had any intentions of undoing this, then there is so much time to have corrected the wrong. It's not been done, and from all indications it won't be done. The people of Sal would have to wait until December 7 to go to the polls and vote for a parliamentary representative. So what primarily is the argument of this press statement released by the Electoral Commission? So I made the effort to give you the right to vote, and that effort was scuppered by Parliament going on recess. But it's been 4 years since. Could there not have been a by-election as we've seen in some other jurisdictions? What is the fear or what was the fear of the Electoral Commission? Is government, is the executive also complicit in this? I mean, perception, council, perception. The perception is that because we have a hung parliament and we know the voting lines of the people of in this particular enclave, if the Electoral Commission had proceeded to conduct a by-election over there, they would have voted for the opposition party, and the opposition party would have become the majority in parliament. Is that what we should believe? Is that the case, council?
So many questions. I don't even know where to start. But I think I heard you say something I think I need to correct.
Right.
So EC and Parliament do not give anybody the right to vote. The right to vote is your.
Is it a natural right?
It's a right granted to you by the Constitution,
right.
of Ghana. So it's not about, in fact, so what they did, whatever happened, rather took their right to vote. You understand? So let's get that position clear. And also, if I understand what they say, so it's more of like a fault-finding mission.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the people of South's right to vote more or less was taken from them. Why and how? Now, if I understand what the AC clearly is saying, and the starting point has to do with the executive. Yeah. Sometimes I don't like attacking ministers, because the ministers are just agents. They are agents of the president himself. Really, I didn't vote for any minister. I voted for the president. So one of Nado's campaign messages was to create new regions. You understand? Was to create new regions. When he came to power in 2016, I think he created a ministry to undertake that project. Now, a competent minister or the president himself knows that per our constitution, where you have you can have a constituency falling with between two regions. Not so. They were aware, proud. It wasn't like it was a surprise law. The president of Ghana was aware that per our law you can't have a constituency that falls within different regions. He was aware, so that when whoever he chose as a minister to undertake that task was creating the new regions, they should have had serious considerations for that, because that was the starting point. That was the problem, because once you create so once you also know that it's the duty of the EC also to create constituencies. I stand to be corrected here. The EC, as part of his or its duties, can create constituencies. So that when they were creating new regions, I think the proper thing they should have done was to have worked in tandem with the EC to ensure that in their carving out regions, out of old regions, certain limitations placed on them by the Constitution will not be affected. For me, I think it's pretty clear. And so, really, the issue that we are faced with is a question of competence. A question of competence, and also a question of supposed unalloyed commitment to the principles and tenets of democracy, as in protecting the rights of the people of Ghana. Because really, if there's one takeaway from the SAL issue, it's the clear lack of commitment by Ghanaians to the tenets of democracy. Because we should have been outraged if any one Ghanaian's right to vote is undermined. Then clearly all of our rights to vote has been undermined, because if they've done it to the people of SAL, then who knows, they may easily do it to us, because clearly what their actions evidenced was a lack of commitment of leadership to protecting the fundamental rights as has been granted us by the Constitution of this country. You get a picture. So yes, we can talk about corrections but for me, like I said, what worries me is the ease with which rights that have been enshrined in the Constitution could be was taken away from Ghanaians, and I don't see where the EC wants to go with this kind of response. So clearly, it's like as they don't want to engage themselves in a blame game. It was not me, it was this person. Yes, but clearly, I can't believe, or we should all be worried, or what I expected was that people resign for this breach, this fundamental breach of limitations of our Constitution. Because you can't convince me that the EC or the minister or the president himself, when they brought the report on the creation of the new regions, and when the EC was carving, I don't think the EC even carved out, because in 2016 we had 275 constituencies, not so. In 2016 we had 275. That didn't change in 2020. So essentially what happened was that in the manner in which the regions were carved out, practically certain constituencies found themselves within two regions. And so what they essentially did was to sacrifice a portion of them. Now, at what stage did they realize that in the manner in which the Oti region had been carved out from the Wota region, the people of South were going to be disenfranchised because per the terms of our Constitution, which prohibited you having a constituency which fell within two regions happening. At what point did the Minister for Local Government realize that? And then when the report was sent to the presidency, are they trying to tell us that the president didn't realize that in the manner in which Oti region had been carved, a clear violation had been committed, which was going to disenfranchise? But when you use the word disenfranchise, it does not say exactly what happened, which was going to take away from some citizens of Ghana their fundamental right to share their opinion and choose for themselves a representative in parliament. So essentially what we have is, for a country that is practicing a system of democracy which is representative in nature, you have certain compatriots of ours who do not have representation in parliaments, whose voices cannot be heard, whose views are drowned out because of the incompetency of the people that we gave them power essentially to protect these rights that has been granted us by the Constitution of Ghana. If you ask me, that's an impeachable offense. If you ask me, that's an impeachable offense, because that is a clear violation of the oath that they took. Because they took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of Ghana. They took an oath to protect and defend the rights of every single Ghanaian. That's the oath Nanado took. That's the oath Nanado took. And like I said, whichever minister was given the job, the duty to undertake the carving out of new regions was essentially an agent of the president. Because he was using executive powers, not so. And the person who is the repository of executive powers, the person that we voted and gave executive powers to, was the president and his vice. You understand? And he took an oath to use those powers to protect and defend these rights. So bless, the EC shouldn't also, so when the regions were carved out, at what stage did the EC realize that what's it called? It undermined how the constituencies have been, how at least one of his constituency has been carved, and that the extent of the undermining meant that certain Ghanaians within those constituencies were going to be denied their right to vote. Also, when the EC realized that and they took steps, so what prevented the MPs? Also, because we know that they have sometimes used convened, or they've convened under a certificate of emergency. Sometimes you've been convened or called upon under a certificate of emergency. You understand?
For example, this Friday.
Exactly. So, and who does that certificate? Is it executive or is it the parliament itself?
Parliament.
It's parliament itself. So the speaker.
Yeah.
So it's the speaker who.
Yeah, the speaker, and then some members, about 15
members
from both sides.
15, yeah, can sign to recall.
Yeah. So you see, so also the MPs.
Yes.
So the MPs, if really they are committed to their representative jobs, because really, if you understand the kind of democracy we took up upon ourselves, where we said we want to limit the powers of the executive, for what purpose? We want to limit their powers so that we can have the best chance of these rights being protected. That's one of the duties of our parliament. And so what prevented the parliamentarians, when they realized, or when the EC presented, because EC said he presented something to them, no so bless, and then they had gone on recession. Is that a story? Bless, I want to understand. Is that what the EC was saying?
Yes, that they had gone on recess.
For that Parliament don't even go there. Afterwards, we have had full sessions.
We can't.
Even I'll go there because the EC's argument simply is that I present something to Parliament. They were on recess, and because they were on recess, the issue that bordered on the rights of Ghanaians could not be addressed. That's the argument of the EC, because the matter came before the EC, or the matter came to Parliament before the 7th of December. Not so. Bless. So what prevented the parliamentarians also? What prevented the MPs to about 15 of them be the majority or minority, if really their commitment is to protect these rights of the people of Ghana, to call to use the certificate of emergency, to call Parliament to sit on the issue of SAL, because clearly a fundamental ill has been done to the constituency of this country, and that ill is that certain rights that has been granted by the constitution itself to our compatriots has been breached, and that breach has been occasioned, one, first of all, by the incompetency of the executive, of the president, in how he attempted to reconstitute regions. 2, it has been occasioned by the incompetency of the EC, insofar as there was some delay in attempting to address this issue. And there has been a fundamental lack of commitment from Parliament to protect the rights of the citizens of Ghana, because they did not see the need, the urgency, to protect the rights of some citizens of Ghana. They didn't see the urgency to fall on their ability to come under a certificate of emergency and convene Parliament to sit on this SAL issue. Because when this matter went to the Supreme Court, what did we expect the Supreme Court to do? Because the law is clear. Because the Supreme Court, they interpret the law. Not so. And then where the bodies who could have done something about it all sat down aloof. And so, you see, I don't buy the issue about because it was 138, 137. Because clearly the minority in Parliament had enough numbers to have called, to have reconvened Parliament on the basis of the ability to come under the certificate of emergency and deal with this issue. You understand? Clearly, it is a reflection of the fundamental problem we have been dealt with in this country, for which reason we need change. And that reason is a clear commitment on the part of politicians, or on the part of people who want powers, to give real leadership. So it's like we want the power, but we don't want to give leadership. Look at the issue at the Kanswa 2 days ago. Who does not know that around this time there'll be floods.
Yeah.
Who does not know that we have issues that is making us increasingly more vulnerable to flooding? Who does not know? What has been done about it?
Yeah.
You talk even about the economy. Who does not know that this CD issue, the dollar CD issue, is because we've not done anything to change the structure of our economy. We only talk about it. It's like we like to talk. We all know the problem. But people we've given power, people we've given the rare privilege and opportunity to address these issues that would bring some comfort, that will lift up the quality of life of their compatriots, clearly do not have the commitment to give real leadership. You understand? So you see, we can choose, like we always do, to do partisan politics with this. And so we were thinking about the numbers.
Yeah.
We can choose to do that. But anytime we do that, we leave the real problem there. And the real problem is that majority, not all, there are some politicians in this country who are committed. But a huge majority of the people who want power, who want political power in this country, have shown beyond a shred of doubt that they want the power, yes, but they want the power not because they have the interests of Ghanaians at heart. They want the power to advance their own personal interests. They have the power, but they do not have the commitment to give real leadership, to bring changes that will impact and give quality of life to the people of this country. And that is what we should be outraged about. And that's why I'm saying that, listen, we are all at fault, all of us. Because when this evil was being done to the people of Sal, when their fundamental rights was being denied them, yes, we all sat down aloof and said nothing. And so because they've been able to do it to Sal, then they can do it to me. Because they've been able to do it to the young man walking on the streets of Akpafu. I may not know him, but because they succeeded in denying him his rights that they didn't give him, rights that were given to him by our constitution, then they can do it to all of us. And so the docile Ghanaian needs to wake up. In 1957, on the eve of independence, Kwame Nkrumah said something. He said, we were asleep, but now we are awake. I think we've come back into a deep slumber. We need to wake up. We need to rise up. We need to defend and fight for our country, because the people we give our powers to clearly don't want to lead, and we cannot perpetuate these happenings. Come 2024, we have an opportunity. Come 2024, we have an opportunity to sound that signal for change. When we say we want change, that change isn't just a mere regime change, but that change is a change for a leadership that will rouse from slumber the Ghanaian. That leadership that would attempt to change the attitude of the common Ghanaian. That leadership that will give us the confidence to speak out when wrong is being done. That leadership that will make us to understand that when your brother's right is being trampled upon, then really your right is being trampled upon. That leadership that will make us empathetic to our needs. That leadership that will forge one Ghana where we'll be interested in all of our well-being. That leadership that would give the direction, will put in place the structures that will change Ghana, that will change Ghana, and that will give us, all of us, the opportunity of realizing our ambition and our potential. And I believe strongly that leadership will be offered by Honorable Alan John Kojo Kyerematen. So let us all, in 2024, when we have this opportunity once again, to vote for change, real change, not just a mere change of regime.
Right, thank you very much, Councillor Apiadan Kwala. Now let me come to Honorable Professor Hamza Adam. He is a member of Parliament, represents the people of the Kumbungo constituency. How would Honorable Hamza feel if elections were not conducted in his constituency? Well, He is a member of parliament and has been since 2020. I want to find out from him what steps parliament took or what steps they have taken to correct this misnomer where the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Likpe and Lolobi were denied their right to vote for that matter. Honorable, what has gone on? I mean, and I've heard the minority speak on platforms about the exclusion of SAL in the parliamentary votes. But what have you done as a group, the minority for that matter, to ensure that this wrong is righted?
Oh, thank you very much. Well, a lawyer ended made me to now know your alienation. I didn't. Oh, okay. I didn't. I didn't follow. No, but you see,
it's not about.
I'm happy that you belong to. What's the name of the slogan for their party?
Movement for change.
Movement for change.
That's together we win in Ghana.
Okay, so
that's the slogan. Together we win and Ghana will rise again.
Okay,
right?
so come and join NDC. Ghana will rise again because you are far from. If you look at where you are coming from, you have agreed that MPP should go, and there must be an alternative. And you know the ultimate alternative. So you better come and join us.
We have given you 16 years.
Anyway,
you are part of the program.
Bless, you asked a question about what we have done. We have done so much. Before I even proceed to give you details of what minority has done, I have excerpts from a write-up from the revered lawyer, Judge Chikata. You know, there was a case on this matter that he was pursuing in the whole circuit corridor. So the contrary, you know, if in the submission of the EC, they quoted some relevant constitutional instruments trying to defend themselves as basis that made them not to be able to organize or that caused their disenfranchisation of the SAL people. Chikata made it very clear that in the constitutional instrument 128, according to Mr. Chikata, the EC had bundled together SAL, traditional area, which were within the Hohoi municipality in the Volta region, with districts in the Oti region, contrary to Article 47(2) of the Constitution, which provides that no constituency shall fall within more than one region. They knew about this. They still went ahead and did it. You cannot say this was not deliberate. You can't say it wasn't deliberate. Furthermore, according to Chikata, Article 47(6) of the Constitution made it clear that CI 119 and CI 128 could only come into effect upon the dissolution of 7th Parliament, which was on the 6th of January 2021. So it was only after the election that could come into force. So why did they not go ahead and do the right thing? They knew all these things. So for the EC to claim that it was not deliberately done is unfounded. I don't know how they have looked at Ghanaians. They think they can just sit there and throw dust into our eyes. My good friend lawyer has quoted relevant aspect of the Constitution trying to explain. And you know from his submission that from all aspects, EC flawed. But they are now finding ways of trying to deceive Ghanaians. All of us, even those including those of us who are not lawyers, we all know that this issue couldn't have been deliberate. It was deliberate because EC which was playing the ball for MPP did that deliberately, because we felt that if SAL had voted in Howard constituency, there was no way MPP would have won that seat. And when they further realized that we had hanged parliament, they realized that if they do not find ways of trying to let issues stay as it is, they are likely to have minority. And so they deliberately tried to suppress the right of the people till now. Now, coming back to look at what we have done. Minority in parliament, we have done so much. And let me commend my brother Kofi Adams for doing so well, because consistently he made urgent statement on the matter. He's filed questions, and a number of MPs, I remember Honorable Okujato and Co., they all file questions, and many other MPs, even minority as a whole, held press conference on the matter. So on the front of the minority, we have consistently fought to ensure that, to demand, you know, to demand the EC responding to the disenfranchisement of our people. We have done that consistently. So EC, they knew all about all these things, and they consistently refused to listen to us. So for me, EC, if there's going to be a civil war, or there's going to be a war in Ghana here, it will be EC that will start it. Because the way Jane Mensah and the team are behaving, they are not behaving as if they are Electoral Commission of Ghana. They are behaving as if they are Electoral Commission of MPP. That is very, very, very bad. Look at what is happening. See what they did in Asenov. See what they did in what do you call it? The recent by-elections in Ejisu. A whole lot. The flaws are too many. And I also think that our political parties will also have to help us. As MPs, we are doing so much in parliament. We will do the press conferences. We will make the urgent statements. We will file the questions. But there's a limit at which we can go. Political parties, including my party, how many times have we hit the street to demand, because it's part of our right? Rebellion is part of democracy. Picketing is part of democracy. So because this democracy, our grandparents strived to give us the democracy. So, but the level of abuse of the democracy today is unheard of. And we are sounding warning to Electoral Commission that in this 2024 elections we are going, if they fail to do their job, we will help them. Because we are not going to allow anybody to be disenfranchised. We are not going to allow anybody to cheat. We will ensure that the right of the people are upheld. Now, look at the limited registration. A whole lot of challenges. And some of these challenges, I don't think they are technical. They are deliberate. And look at the first day. Almost across the constituencies in Ghana, there were issues of network. People couldn't be registered. Does it mean that these machines were not piloted? Does it mean that they didn't take feedback from piloting, if indeed they piloted, and then try to improve and ensure that the right thing is done in the registration? So assuming this was to be a general election, could you imagine what would have happened? So we are saying that the NDC, we are registering our displeasure in the conduct of their in this particular exercise. They have to sit up, and then we are sounding warning that we will, in these 2024 elections, we will come out strongly and help them to do their work if they fail to do that. Bless, I rest my case.
Right, I'm just looking at the exchange rate for this morning. The Ghana cedi to the dollar stands at 14.80. The pound to the Ghana cedi stands at 18 cedis 20. 18 cedis 20 pesos makes 1 pound. 15 cedis 80 pesos makes 1 euro. So let me repeat it. 14 cedis 80 pesos makes $1. 18 cedis 20 pesos makes 1 pound. And then 15 cedis 80 pesos makes 1 euro. Those of you who have families abroad, then you are getting inward remittances. you are getting good money. Well, let's proceed to our next topic, but I'll try and read a few messages before that. We've received a number of messages from our viewers on Facebook and on WhatsApp. I'll try to read a few of them. Abdul Rahman Sija says, I'm watching you live from Tamale. Thank you. Baba Awing Kangwa Salifu says, I'm still wondering why Bawumia would tell Ghanaians that he wants to be a president after messing up the economy with no vision and direction. In fact, Ghana has no future under Nanado and Bawumia. Visionary John and Jane Beba, regards to Honorable Evans Amuchumesi, incoming MP for Efrija Setre East constituency, and Professor Grace Ayensu Sikado Ketan constituency. Musa Abatwa says the depreciation of the city, which leads to the downgrade by the rating agencies, serves as a stark reminder of the incompetent display by the driver Akufo-Addo and his clueless mate Dr. Bawumia in managing the economy. The inability to effectively manage the economy has not only eroded investors' confidence, but has also resulted in tangible economic hardships for ordinary citizens. The corrupt practices within the government are deeply troubling and undermine the trust and credibility of our democracy. The 24-hour economy is coming to solve the challenges facing the economy. Apostle Seidu John Paul says, good morning, watching live from Tamale, Sagnarigo Municipal. Ayaba Zakaria says the dollar has arrested the liar. Okay, good morning, Bless. I salute you and your panelists. I'm full of praise for the lawyer on your show this morning. He spoke passionately as a Ghanaian, even though he belongs to a political party, unlike those who are always partisan in whatever they put across. Good work, lawyer, from James in Winneba. J.S. Husseini from Tamale says, good morning, Bless, and to your panelists. This press release by the EC is much ado about nothing. It is a mere damage control exercise, and they should shut up. They should not attempt to draw Parliament into their sin, but they should remember the day of reckoning is fast approaching, and they shall stand before the judgment throne of Ghana to answer for their sins. Thank you very much. Good morning, Pan-African TV. My name is Dixon Ogbe from SAL. SAL is an independent constituency, and our president is Honorable Fred Agbenyu. You need a visitor to come to SAL. Interesting. Good morning, Pan-African TV. The Jane Mensah-led EC needs to be called to order by voices of reason and of conscience. The actions of the commission since Jane Mensah took over has been to appropriate for themselves needless independence and pomposity, thereby illegally doing the bidding of the appointing authority. I call on the National Peace Council, the Muslim Council, the Christian Council, the National House of Chiefs, etc. to come together and call the EC to order towards conducting a free, fair and transparent election 2024. Extending my felicitations to Professor Hamza for his sterling performance as MP for the good people of Kumbungu constituency. From Rashid Sumaila in Kumbungu. Thank you, Rashid, for your message. Good morning, Pan-African Television. Nyebro ALORMASOR. Please tell the EC to spare our ears. The denial by the EC of disenfranchising the people of South from voting in that Kululu manner in the last general elections is known to every reasonable Ghanaian. We all know it's about complicity between them and the Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP administration. Bro, this release by the EC against Imani is baseless and unnecessary. From Uncle Sam, aka Havana in Ho. Good morning, Bless. The Electoral Commission is an agent of the ruling government. They want numbers in parliament to pass unnecessary laws. That is why they are unconstitutionally treating the people of Sao the way they want. But time will tell. Sami from Adenta. I'll take this final one and then we proceed to our next topic. Please send my greetings to Professor Hamza Adam for me. Salahuddin Sakuba sent this one. GM to the fantastic guys in your studio. Honestly, I've given up as a Ghanaian. There's simply no hope. However, let us vote massively for the Shegelege Movement Party. Ask the NDC man if he is a UDS product. If yes, he should link up Roland Meyer. Honorable Hamza lectured. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Strong.
Oh, okay.
Alumnus.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Right.
I did my first degree in UDS.
Oh, nice. Good morning, Afeto ALORMASOR and your panelists. I said I was going to do the last message. I've actually done 3 more. That's because a lot of you are doing the watching and we are extremely grateful. Good morning, Afeto ALORMASOR and your panelists. I'm Kojo Peter from Achimota in Accra, and concerning the issue at stake, this SAL issue, it is a deliberate attempt by the NPP government to disenfranchise the people to serve their parochial interest of their paymasters. We wait to see if the NPP will step there for any campaign activity and what their message will be. Greetings to the people of Pando. Right. Thank you very much. On that note, we'll proceed to our next topic, the banner headline of today's edition of the Inside Newspaper. But please keep on sending in your messages. We are live on Facebook, also on YouTube. Send in your messages. I'll read them before the show ends. The banner headline of today's edition of the Inside: Food insecurity. WFP report reveals over 1 million Ghanaians in danger. I think it was yesterday that I saw a news item that this is also as a result of the exchange rate, the very fact that traders who bought stuff to sell in weeks gone by at a particular rate would now have to fork out more dollars to bring in more goods, and also those who went for loans to support their businesses now they'd have to look for more money to pay their loans, and then it's not forthcoming. And so that's one of the reasons for which we may see a hike in food insecurity in the coming months. And this is just 2 months away, or just even a month away. Says a report from the World Food Programme has highlighted that an estimated 1.05 million people in Ghana could face food insecurity between June and August. While this figure represents a decrease from the 2.2 million projected in November 2023, it remains concerning, especially when compared to the 1.37 million estimated in March 2023. This report identifies several factors contributing to food insecurity in Ghana, with high food prices exacerbated by natural hazards like flooding being significant drivers. Despite some relief in inflation, the issue persists, particularly in northern Ghana and rural communities. In these areas where agriculture is the primary livelihood for 90% of families, challenges such as climate change, low prices, poor infrastructure, and inadequate education compound the problem. Ghana's vulnerability to global price spikes, particularly for imported rice, adds to the challenge, impacting the affordability of food across the country. Additionally, the report highlights the triple burden of malnutrition faced by Ghana, with stunting among children under 5 remaining high, especially in the northern region. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies, particularly anemia, disproportionately affect women and children, with higher rates in the north. Wow, interesting. Honorable Hamza, you are an agriculturalist for that matter, and if you look at what the paper has reported, it appears that the people up north may be the people that are more heavy hit by this situation. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Okay, thank you. think the report of the newspaper is very important because there's no substitute for food. There's no substitute for food. We need to survive as a country. You see, Ghana, we have a challenge here. We are not making use of the areas that we have comparative advantage. Ghana is an agricultural country. Ghana has huge potential to be able to redeem this gloomy economy through agriculture. And in fact, agriculture is supposed to be the backbone of our economy. We were doing so well in the past because agriculture was going on well. Now we are struggling because somehow we have abandoned agriculture. I am not an economist, but economics will tell us that if we are able to eat most of the things that we need from local, then we are going to be able to control our economy. Inflation will go down, dollar will go down, imports will go down, and all that. Because what is simple causing the skyrocketing of the dollar? We need money to go and import. Can you imagine that currently Ghana is spend almost about 6 billion on importation of rice. The quantity we import almost about 450,000 metric tons of rice every year. If you look at the quantity of meat that we import and the amount that is involved, you'll be scared. So we simply have the solution at hand in Ghana, and we're not dealing with it because we have arable land. We have the land for growing of rice, maize. We can do that because we had done that in the past, even though we were far younger. In the early 80s, or is it in the late 70s to 80s, Operation Feed Yourself. When we decided to do public production aggressively, Ghana became food self-sufficient in food production. So how are we going to handle our agriculture and make optimized use of the huge potential we have in this country? Now, agriculture is bedeviled with a lot of challenges. In my constituency, I was just checking because I'm an agricultural extension expert. I was just trying to find out what is the ratio of farmer to agriculture, to extension agents, because extension agents play critical role in production because they teach the farmers the technical know-how. They help the farmers. Now you realize that you have one extension agent to almost 4,000 farmers. How efficient can that be? How efficient can that extension agent be? So we have a lot of challenges at hand. We have agriculture science graduates who need employment. Ghana government is not employing them and using them. They have gone to the universities and they have learned to be agriculturists. They are supposed to be sent to the farmers to teach the farmers, yet they don't have job. They don't have job. So something has to be done. We need a serious revolution of agriculture in Ghana. And when we are able to do that, then it is going to help us to be able to accelerate production, and we will reduce import drastically, and it will help to control by Dr. Baum's dollar. It's an eyesore because as an agriculturist, I see the huge potential that we have as a country. Look at the livestock. livestock area, if you look at its performance to agriculture GDP, it's consistent. Even when you see other areas like the fishing, like the cocoa and all that, some of them recording negatives, livestock is consistent. It tells you that we have huge potential, even despite the fact that our intervention, government intervention in that area is quite low. We are still not doing badly in the livestock sector. So we have to rethink about agriculture. Once we are able to do that, all these issues that are coming out about the food insecurity and all that, we will be able to handle that. You go to the some of the villages in most constituencies, including my rural, and the only day that the household will consume meat will be on the celebration day, either Eid day. Where will the balanced meal come from? So sometimes it's just not only about availability. Food security also extends to the nutritional needs you get as a household. And some people, the food is available, they cannot access. So access is also part of the food security. So, I think that Ghana has huge potential. And if Minister for Agriculture is listening to me, we will not charge any money by giving them the consultancy. We can do that by pro bono. You should consult the experts, because agriculture, whether we like it, it's a professional area. It's not everybody. So even when you are there and you are not a technocrat, you must consult the relevant people for advice, technical advice. For example, I have a lot of experience with respect to this kind of the input credit approach that they are trying to implement. I worked closely with MIDA, which had a similar outlook. And I can tell you that the challenges that came, despite the time MIDA used to build the structures, we still have challenges. MIDA used almost 2 good years to build the structures for what they are trying to do within few months without any piloting. Why can't we say that, okay, in this year we are going to pilot this in these districts and see how they are working? But suddenly the minister is saying that he wants to go full scale. Will it work or not? He doesn't know. Last year farmers didn't get subsidy for fertilizer. Now fertilizer is around 500 Ghana cedi. How many farmers can afford? Even though I have always advocated that we must try to depend on the organic. The inorganic is not the best. The organic is more viable and last longer and cheaper. Just that farmers will have to. So government must do something deliberately. Government must do something deliberately, trying to see how we can revamp. People don't really want to go by the local, the compost and the like. I mean, because of the difficulty, the tedious nature of it, we are looking for cheaper way, which is the fertilizer application. But these fertilizers are destroying our lands. So Ghana has huge potential. I keep repeating that, to be self-sufficient in food production, including meat production. We can even export if government decides to deliberately pay attention to agriculture. We are struggling with the dollar, with all the economic parameters, and they are not working. But the reality is that let's visit production. We all know that the production is what will help us